Hello, everyone, and welcome to the UFC 149 conference call. UFC 149 is presented by Ultimate Poker and takes place Saturday, July 21st from the Scotiabank Arena at Saddledome in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. It is live on pay-per-view. Today on the call, we are joined by the main event stars Uriah Faber and Renan Baral, who will be translated by Anna Claudia, as well as Tom Wright, Director of Canadian Operations. At this time, I will turn it over to UFC President Dana White.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to get on this morning. It has been a busy 3 weeks for the UFC here, and we appreciate all your support. Let's open it up for the first question.
Thank you. If you'd like to ask a question, please press *1 on your telephone keypad. If you're on speakerphone, please make sure your mute function is off to ensure your signal can reach our equipment. Again, it is *1 to ask a question. We'll pause a moment to assemble the queue. We'll take our first question from Matt Erickson with MMAJunkie.com.
Thank you very much. Uriah, I want to talk to you real quick about you being a champion before, but, it's kind of been a while since you've had a belt. And obviously the only fights that you've lost have been for titles. So is there kind of a sense of urgency in this fight for you to get the belt back?
There's always a sense of urgency when I'm in a fight. That's the way I approach things. I feel like over my career, in some way, shape, or form, most of my fights have been either title fights or fights to get in title fights. So, it's hard to really say one has a more sense of urgency than another. I felt like last time I fought Dominic Cruz, I had a sense of urgency there. I felt like I know it was a very close fight, but I thought I'd done enough to win. So in my mind, this is a fight that I need to win, but it's just kind of like the rest of them, go out there and make sure that you fight to the bitter end and give your all and be focusing on winning.
This fight with Baral seems like it's quite a bit different of a fight than a fight with Dominic would have been. Obviously, you want to win this fight so you can get another crack later at Dominic. So how hard is it for you to keep Dominic out of your head and think about the task at hand? Even though one of the biggest reasons for you to win this fight is so you can get another shot at Dominic.
For me, everything is about being the best, and if I'm fighting Baral now, I'm not thinking about Dominic at all. I could care less about Dominic Cruz. The only reason I deal with him is because I have to. And right now I don't have to, so I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
Great. Thanks, buddy. And then, Dana, I don't want to ask you another question about injuries, although maybe I kind of do, but we know there's nothing you can do about them, but can you recall a card that's had as many changes as this one in Calgary?
No, I say this one wins. This is the winner. We lost 9 to injury, and we had to move 2 other fights, so I would say yes. This is the craziest card of all time.
Then, kind of as a promoter and as a company, how do you deal with that? Is it just kind of a situation of, throw your hands up and say, what you always say, bad stuff happens every day, and, we have to move on and trust that the fans are going to trust you guys to put on a good show, even though it's not the one that was originally planned?
Well, yeah, I think that if you look at our track record, when things fall apart, we put the cards back together. If you look at I guess just the top 3 fights in this card, you got Faber versus Renan Baral. Renan Baral's got the longest win streak in MMA right now, and I don't need to tell you about Uriah Faber. Hector Lombard and Tim Bosch. The 185-pound division gets more and more exciting every day. And, everybody's watching this fight. It's an important fight in the 185-pound division. And check Congo and Sean Jordan. So I think the thing is, too, is that when you're a UFC fan, we've never been to Calgary. It's our first time there. And the fact of the matter is that we do always deliver. We always deliver. We're in, the big main event last weekend, the biggest fight we've ever had was amazing. I was in San Jose last night. The card was awesome, and I will tell you this right now, and most of the people who live in Calgary have never seen the UFC live. We're coming, and you think you like it, what you see on TV, wait till you see this live event, and our fighters always deliver.
And one last one real quick. In terms of Baral, I know it's never a good thing to lose a champion for a long period of time, but as it relates to Baral, was this kind of a silver lining that you could push him a little bit faster than maybe you might have been able to otherwise?
Nah, the guy's 30-1. You know what I mean? And he's a tough guy. He's a very, very tough fighter. And Uriah Faber, who went through that whole season of The Ultimate Fighter to fight Cruz, absolutely 100%, not only accepted the fight with Renan Baral, but before it was even announced said, I hope it's Renan Baral. I think that's another testament to the guys that fight in this sport. If this was a boxing card, this card would have been postponed. It would have been gone. We built another card, and not just us putting the fights together, but the fighters stepping up and taking these big fights.
Great. Thanks, Dan. I appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.
And we'll take our next question from Jose Rodriguez with Sun Media.
Hi, thanks, guys, and thanks for taking the time. I guess my question's for Uriah. Uriah, can you maybe explain what it's like to come in and sort of a rescue mission, if you will, on a card that's sort of falling apart, and there are a bunch of people who, there isn't a single fight left from the originally announced card, so I think there's sort of the additional weight on you to deliver. Do you ever feel that sort of pressure?
I don't feel pressure because I know I'm going to deliver. I've never had a dull fight in my life, and I've watched Baral, and Baral's the type of fighter that will always have an exciting fight. We're going to go in there and try to take each other out from the get-go, and I really feel like this has potential to be fight of the year. I've got a guy who's on a huge win streak and really talented, and I'm really getting to the peak of my abilities. I've been getting better and better over the years and getting comfortable everywhere. So there's no pressure. I know we're going to deliver. There's no doubt in my mind, and I think knowing the other guys on this card, Hector Lombard and Bosch and all the rest of the guys, Congo, these guys are never in dull fights. I mean, this is going to be probably the most action-packed fight to date. It's one thing to have guys that you know who they are and recognize their name, and it's another thing to have guys that fight every time to the bitter end and put on great shows, and that's what this fight's about. There's a lot on the line for me, man. I want this more than anything. I'm sure, Baral's in the same boat. It doesn't get any more interesting than that.
No, agreed, and I know all the Canadian fighters have a lot to prove as well. I guess my next question would be for Dana, if I can. Dana, how close is Hector Lombard? Should be victorious at 149?
I don't know. We got to see. I mean, he's definitely. That's why I said a minute ago the 85-pound division is getting very interesting. Last night's fight changed a lot of things. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how this whole thing shakes out. But Hector Lombard is definitely one of the top guys, and the guy's 31-2, and we'll see what happens. Maybe which I got to see when Anderson can fight again. Weidman and Lombard are fighting relatively right around the same time. He fought yesterday, and Hector's fighting next week. But we'll see what happens.
And one additional question, if I can. I know you sort of already answered it, but there are a bunch of fans here in Calgary that bought tickets to a fight that nowhere near resembles the fight that was previously announced. And I agree with you. I think that this is going to be a great card for as far as just it's got a lot of energy in that card. But what do you say to those guys that are now saying, well, you know what? I wanted to watch Shogun Rua, and I wanted to see Nogueira, and I wanted to see Jose Aldo.
I did too.
Yeah.
That makes me. I'm in the mix. Listen, the UFC's coming to Calgary with a great card. I wanted to see all those guys fight too, but it didn't happen. Uriah Faber wanted to fight last weekend in Vegas. That didn't work out either. These guys, Uriah Faber, and left that card to come fight in Calgary. Man, I mean, you don't want to see Uriah Faber. You don't want to see Hector Lombard. You don't want to see Renan Baral. The UFC's coming to Calgary. Well, who got stung in this thing were a lot of scalpers. That's who got stung. I can tell you this right now. If you're a UFC fan and you bought a ticket to Calgary, you're going to get exactly what you paid for. You're going to come to the UFC, you're going to see a great show, and you're going to see some kick-ass fights. If you're a scalper, that's the business you're in. You win some, you lose some.
Great. Thank you very much, and can't wait to see you guys next week.
Yep, thank you.
We'll take our next question from Adam Martin with The Score.
Yeah, first off, Dana, great show last night, awesome show. And, you got a big title fight coming up next weekend between Faber and Baral. I mean, when Carlos Condit won the interim title, he's been sitting on the sidelines. Will the winner of this fight sit on the sidelines, or will they take another fight before Dominic Cruz returns from injury?
We'll see what happens. I mean, let me tell you what, I truly and honestly believe that the top three in that division are Uriah Faber, Renan, Baral, and Cruz. So, whether Uriah Faber or Renan Baral win this fight next weekend, it's up to them. I think, those three guys are the best in the division anyway. They're looking at guys that they're going to have to fight, after they fight Cruz anyway. So it's up to them. I would personally love to see the winner of this fight stay active until Cruz is ready, and then fight Cruz. So we'll see what happens.
In regards to the middleweight fight you have on the card between Lombard and Boach, I mean, everyone's talking about Hector Lombard, but I think people are ignoring Tim Boach. He had the mother of all comebacks against Yushin Kami. So, I mean, if he won this fight against Hector Lombard, is he right up there with Chris Weidman as far as the title shot goes?
There's no doubt about it. This is probably the biggest fight of Tim Boach's life. If he wins this fight, this kid is definitely, that's what I was just saying. If Lombard wins, you got Lombard, you got Weidman, and if it's not Lombard, then it's Boach. Yeah, this is such a huge fight for Tim Boach.
In regards to Minotauro Nogueira, I mean, he was booked for the card, but we all know what happened with the fight with Frank Mir. Was he booked too soon? I mean, was he ready? Was he cleared to fight? What happened there?
Apparently, he was booked too soon. Yes.
Okay.
All we can do is go by what these guys say and tell us. And his doctor said he was fine, but then he was having problems with the arm. So.
Okay, no problem. Just one for Tom Wright. Tom, do you have a main event set for UFC 152 in Toronto? Everyone's asking here.
We've announced Rory McDonald and BJ Penn for the show at the Air Canada Centre on September the 22nd, and probably by maybe as soon as tomorrow or Monday at the latest, we'll announce some of the other people on that card. But as Dana said, we have a track record of putting on great shows. We're excited about UFC 152 in Toronto, but I'm equally excited for UFC 149, and that's where our focus is right now.
Absolutely. And what do you expect from all the Canadian fighters on the card, Tom? You have a lot of them fighting on the undercard. What are you expecting from these guys? Guys like Ryan Jinmo, who are getting their first shot in the UFC.
Well, these guys are jacked about having a chance to fight in Canada. I can tell you, starting with Nick Ring, who's from Calgary, he can hardly wait to avenge his loss to Court McGee, and all the other guys from Jimmo to Mitch Clark to all these other guys. They're so looking forward to fighting in front of their hometown and at least in their home country. And it's a special opportunity. I mean, the Brazilians love to fight in front of their crowds in Brazil, and the Canadians love to fight here. And we've got 7 on the card, and I think that's an important part of why this card in Calgary is going to be so good, because there's a lot of homebrew talent that will really put on a show.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys, and can't wait for the show.
Thank you.
As a reminder, if you'd like to ask a question, please press star 1. We'll take our next question from Dave Meltzer with the Wrestling Observer.
Hi, guys, and thanks for the call. Uriah, when you look at Renan, I mean, what kind of give me a kind of a scouting report on him and where you think you match up the best with him?
I would say Renan's very well rounded. I mean, I would say 99% of the guys that get these title shots are very well rounded, and I think probably the thing that he has going for him is just the confidence of coming off of 29 wins. He's human just like anyone else. He's that long streak is going to come to an end, and I'm the one to do it. I mean, all these long streaks come to an end. There's not a guy who's ended with a streak this long, and I think standing, he's got really good hands. He's a little bit slower than Dominic. He's less tricky than Dominic. And the thing that is really going to be something to watch out for are those high knees and leg kicks. He's trained with Jose Aldo, so I'm expecting leg kicks coming out. But for me, he's got great wrestling for the Brazilian. The Brazilian fighters, a lot of them lack in wrestling. He doesn't lack in wrestling, but I feel like I'm the better wrestler. He's pretty fast, but I feel like I'm faster. He's going to be strong. I think I'm going to be stronger. So it's going to come down to who's going to be in better shape, who's going to be able to impose their will, and I think that's going to be me. So I'll be aware of the weapons that he has, but ready to outclass him every which way.
On this one, as far as like peaking and everything, I mean, you found out about this. It was actually several weeks ago. I mean, how hard was it to change kind of the peak day from 2 weeks ago or from last Saturday to change it by 2 weeks? And also rounds 4 and 5. And what's the difference in your kind of training when you got a 3-rounder versus a 5-rounder? And also as far as pressure goes, I mean, this is kind of like your back's against the wall probably more in this fight than any fight I think you've had in maybe your entire career. Would you agree with that?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't think of stuff like that. I'm all about just attacking the task at hand. I think this fight's super important, and I want it more than anything, and that's the way I approach all these fights. But as far as changing the date goes, there's disappointment on a bunch of different levels with that. Like, I've got a golf tournament, a charity golf tournament this weekend that we put on for the kids, and I'm going to be starving sitting there at that thing, and I had probably 1,000 folks that I know personally out in Vegas, and the money and all sorts of other stuff is probably going to change a little bit. But the bottom line is the extra 2 weeks is better for me back home in my environment with the new opponent. I feel like this is kind of a blessing to get the extra 2 weeks to prepare for this new opponent and be in my comfort zone. I was doing a lot of things, coaching the show and living in a new place and stuff like that, and it was a breath of fresh air to get that extra 2 weeks.
Okay, and this is for either Dana or Tom. When it comes to the fact that this show, sold out immediately, is there, I mean, as far as, are you looking at like getting Calgary back on the schedule as soon as possible, like maybe for another show next year?
Go ahead, Tom. You can take it.
Well, listen, when Dana was out in Calgary a couple of months ago, we talked about coming back to Calgary. There's no question that the entire province of Alberta is terrific for our sport and for the UFC. I think that, as Dana said before, when comes Sunday morning after this fight, folks in Calgary will be asking us when we're coming back. And as Dana would like to say, we'll have to wait and see. But I can assure you, we'll be back to Calgary sooner than later.
And for Dana, when we talk about like this fight, and if the guy who wins the fight fighting again, I mean the likely guy in my book for the next one, or a leading candidate would be McDonald, who I know was under consideration for this one. How is he? And do you have any idea of like if he'd be ready in like 4 months or so, or would you?
No, I haven't checked up on him. He hurt his hand, and I don't know.
And is there any kind of an update as far as Aldo, who was going to headline this one, as far as when he'll be ready?
I don't know about him either.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Dave.
We'll take our next question from Nicholas Cunningham with Hola America newspaper.
Yeah, thanks for having me on today, guys. My question is kind of a two-parter for both you guys. For Keenan, some of the casual fans don't know you yet, or some of the new fans. And I wanted to know what you want them to take away from your fight on Saturday. And then for Uriah, what's something new that you want to show fans? Because, obviously everybody has known you for a long time, but I didn't know if there's anything new that you wanted to show them.
Let's go with Renan first.
All right.
Renan, ele quer saber, tem vários fãs que não são muito familiares com o que você faz, e você vai ter uma chance de lutar num grande evento, main event, em Calgary. O que você vai querer mostrar para os fãs?
Querer dar o máximo de mim para poder fazer uma grande luta e tentar sair com a vitória a todo custo.
I want to show them all that I have. I want to put on my best fight, and I want more than anything to leave there victorious.
Uriah?
Thank you.
Say again?
Well, I just wanted to know you know, a lot of the fans obviously know you, and I didn't know if there's something new that you want to show some of the new fans of the sport now that the switch over to Fox and Fuel. And is there anything that, you know, you've been waiting to show them that haven't seen yet?
I think my best new stuff comes out in the fight. You know, I'm pretty creative in there, and I've been steadily improving on all aspects of the game, whether it be kickboxing or stand up or learning jiu-jitsu stuff. So just want to keep developing and hopefully do some new stuff in general. Hopefully surprise myself.
All right, thank you guys, and good luck to both of you.
Thanks.
And we'll take our next question from Mike Chiappetta with SB Nation.
Hi, just a couple questions for Renan, please. You know, on this call, it took nearly half an hour for you to get your first question, even though you're a main eventer here. Do you kind of feel like you're being sort of underestimated or in this fight, or do you kind of feel like you're still introducing yourself to the MMA public, even though you have, 30 fights in your career?
Renan, essa pergunta é para você. A gente está nessa ligação já há praticamente meia hora e demorou esse tempo todo para você receber a sua primeira pergunta. Você acha que você está sendo subestimado nessa luta? Ou você acha que você, apesar de ter essas 30 vitórias consequentes, você ainda não é muito conhecido pelo público americano?
Eu acho que é isso, né? Eu não sou tão conhecido como um grande lutador ainda aí no público americano e acho que é isso. Mas quando eu estou tranquilo, acho que se alguém me subestimar, eu acho que eu tenho que mostrar isso lá em cima do octagon e todos vão me conhecer melhor, eu acho. É isso.
Eu vou falar da barreira de idioma também.
Oi?
Você quer que eu fale da barreira do idioma também?
Pode ser.
Yeah, I think, Mike, that, I'm just not as well known by the American public. It's not a problem for me. It doesn't offend me or anything. I think where I need to show my skills and become known by them is up inside the octagon, and for sure I'm going to have my chance to do that in Calgary and show you guys everything that I have. For us Brazilian fighters, the language barrier sometimes is a problem. It doesn't allow us to get as well known by the American public, but it's not a problem. I'll show everything I have inside the octagon, and I hope to leave the fans with a fight to remember me by.
And the timing of this opportunity was, a bit unexpected. Obviously, you were supposed to fight Dominic, and you got this chance now. What does this opportunity mean for you in your life to get a big fight like this and kind of vault yourself into the title picture?
Renan, essa oportunidade foi algo que não estava esperado por você, pois o Uriah era para ter lutado contra o Dominic Cruz. Então, a troca de eventos foi algo que foi benéfico para você. Como você se sente tendo essa oportunidade, essa chance agora?
Eu fiquei muito feliz e isso é um sonho que a gente vem batalhando de muitos anos, não é de hoje. E fiquei muito feliz quando a notícia que eles estão se tornando interino.
I was very happy with the opportunity. Obviously, it's a dream, and the dream to fight for the title isn't a dream that I've had just now. It's something I've dreamt about for years. So I am thrilled to be having this opportunity.
And obviously, you've fought and you've beat a lot of guys over the last few years. What challenges does Uriah offer you that maybe you haven't seen before in cage?
Você lutou contra vários caras e venceu nos últimos anos. Quais são os pontos fortes do Uriah que você acha que podem te trazer problemas dentro do octógono? O que você acha que ele traz de mais perigoso para essa luta?
Eu acho a parte de queda ali, a parte de takedown, né, que ele faz muito bem e quando ele tá por cima ali, ele joga muito bem o cotovelo. E é isso, já vinha vendo vários vídeos do Faber, não é de hoje, muitos anos atrás. E eu sei muitas coisas ali que pode ser perigoso para mim na luta.
I've watched Uriah for years. He's not a fighter that I'm unfamiliar with, and he's excellent. He's a very talented guy. I think his strong points are his takedowns. I also think when he's on top, in top position, he throws some nasty elbows that I'll have to watch out for. And definitely it's an honor to be fighting him.
Okay, thanks. And one question for Dana. I know it's only a few days after the big fight this past weekend. There's already been a couple of reports that you guys estimated over 1 million pay-per-view buys. I wonder if you did get any early results back yet that would confirm that.
Hey, Mike, Dana had to drop off the line to attend to a meeting, so you can either direct that question towards Tom Wright or save it for the next time.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer. I haven't heard anything more than the numbers that Dana has spoken about. We won't get final results probably for another few days.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Mike.
And we'll take our next question from Dave Snyder with Post Media News.
Hi, guys. Thanks very much. Uriah, I apologize if this has been asked. I had to jump on a little late there, but I'm wondering if you think the fact that you've been through so many main events, so many UFC cards, and all the things, not just inside the cage but outside, that come with it. Does the fact that you have gone through that so much, does that help you at all in terms of keeping a routine and then thus being ready for fight night?
Yeah, I would say, having been in this game for so long and being experienced, of course, has its advantages. But the other thing that's kind of rough about it is everybody always goes to you for the media stuff, and it's something that I'm used to, and I don't mind at all. But it's one of those things where it just another part of the game for me. The real question is it going to affect me in the fight? And the answer is it doesn't ever affect me in the fight. When I go into a fight, it's not about how many interviews I've done or this or that, the other thing. I just approach a fight like I would if I were defending myself on the street. I'm going to fight to the bitter end. I've got no excuses ever of why I should be an advantage or disadvantage from one training camp to another. I always train hard, and I don't care who the opponent is. I'm going to go out there and win.
Okay, thanks, Uriah. Renan, have you been? Have you had to approach this event a little differently in terms of any extra outside the cage commitments, whether it's media or promotions, anything like that? And has that been, if so, has it been a distraction at all for you?
Renan, você teve que abordar essa luta de forma diferente em relação às promoções e necessidade de fazer propaganda da luta. Isso fora os treinos, fora os seus preparativos para entrar no octógono, teve trabalho adicional? E caso sim, como isso veio a afetar a sua rotina de treinos?
Não, acho que não afetou nada na rotina dos meus treinos. Eu, graças a Deus, com a minha equipe, a gente programou os treinos direitinho e quanto a isso, deu para fazer tudo certinho, direitinho, não teve problema nenhum.
No, I haven't felt like it's impacted or interfered with my training in any way. I think, we do the publicity and then we make our training schedule around it and make sure we get in everything that we have to get in so we're prepared to fight.
All right, and just one more. Does it feel different for you? Fighters always try to say that they treat every fight the same. But you're top of the card, main event, face on the poster. Does it feel any different for you?
Os lutadores sempre costumam dizer que a próxima luta deles é sempre a mais importante, mas dessa vez para você, Renan, você é o main event, você está com seu rosto nos pôsteres, você é o nome que está vendendo o evento. Isso te traz uma sensação diferente? Você se sente diferente com isso?
A diferença que eu sinto é a felicidade, né? Que nunca lutei o main event e graças a Deus eu estou muito feliz por ter tido essa oportunidade aí e com certeza, não essa, como várias lutas que vão acontecer em minha vida, vai ser a mais importante, que cada uma é mais importante, e mais importante é uma, mas eu estou muito feliz de poder fazer um evento e poder mostrar meu trabalho mais uma vez aí para todo mundo, todo o público aí, toda a galera.
You know, the way that I feel happy is different is in my happiness. I feel so happy to do this event. Every time I see myself on the posters, you know, I feel so proud to be able to be up there showing you guys my work, showing you guys who I am as a fighter. And, you know, thank God I'm having this opportunity, and I hope that I'll have many more opportunities from here on out to be featured in main events. And, you know, for me, each fight is more important than the last fight, and I hope that's how this will be. I'm extremely happy to be able to show you guys everything I have, and grateful for the opportunity. So thanks to God.
Okay. Thanks again, guys.
Once again, if you'd like to ask a question on today's call, please press star followed by the number 1 on your telephone keypad. And we'll take our next question from Fernando Arbex with Yahoo Sports Brazil.
Hello guys, thanks for the opportunity. I would like to ask Renan in Portuguese. Renan, como que o sucesso que José Aldo e consequentemente a nova união com o Dedé tiveram contra o Faber te dão confiança nessa hora e te ajudam eles te ajudam a se preparar para essa luta? Thank you.
Let me translate to English for the benefit of everyone else on the call. He's asking Renan, what is the effect that training under Andre Pederneiras of the Nova União team alongside Jose Aldo has on your confidence for this fight, in light of the fact that Jose Aldo was successful when he fought against Uriah Faber? Pode responder em português, Renan.
Tá bom. A gente fez bom trabalho aqui com toda a nossa equipe, né? O José Aldo também ajudando, e graças a Deus a gente conseguiu fazer um excelente treino, um excelente trabalho aqui. Eu acho que isso influenciou muito, que José Aldo me passou algumas dicas, sabe como ele luta, sabe o que ele vai jogar, mais ou menos, e acho que foi isso. A gente fez um excelente trabalho e, se Deus quiser, a gente trabalhou aí forte para sair com a vitória.
Yeah, we had an excellent camp down here. We had an excellent strategy. Obviously, we benefited from Aldo's input. Aldo knows how Uriah fights, and he was able to help us devise our strategy going in to make this camp. So thank God we had an excellent camp, and we're very ready for this fight.
Obrigado, Renan. The same question for Uriah is, it bothers him if he can be more bothered with the fact that Renan trains with Aldo and he feels it.
I think the question was, am I bothered about the Jose Aldo? Can you repeat the question? Maybe say it.
Sorry,
you can just...
I'll make this Portuguese. Não, é a mesma coisa, se ele fica preocupado nessa parte.
Eu não entendi a pergunta.
Se o Faber fica preocupado porque o Renan treina com o José Aldo, que já venceu ele, e se ele acha que isso pode ser uma vantagem para o Renan.
Oh, no, the question, Uriah, is, are you worried that Renan Barão has been preparing for this fight with Jose Aldo, and do you think that'll give him an advantage and allow him to win, given that Aldo has won against you before?
Is he going to bring Jose Aldo in there to help fight me? If so, then yes. But we're all individuals. You know, I feel like Renan, although he has a lot of the similarities of Jose Aldo, is a very different fighter. You know, they're different size fighters. They're different skill sets. You know, it's a different fight. Same with me and my camp. You know, I don't think that having Aldo's input is going to change too much. I mean, they're probably going to tell him to kick me in the leg. I'm sure Baral was planning on trying to kick me in the leg anyways. So I'm looking forward to a great fight. And I really like the camp that I'm fighting against. It's an honor. This is like a kind of a fight that is pitting two of the best lightweight camps, the two best lightweight camps in the world against each other. So I take a little extra pride in that for sure.
Thank you.
Let me
Thank you,
answer into Portuguese for you. O Renan estará levando o José Aldo para dentro do octógono com ele, para lutar junto com ele, para me derrotar? Caso sim, eu me preocuparia lutar contra os dois ao mesmo tempo. Mas esse esporte, o fato é que esse esporte é um esporte individual, somos indivíduos. O Renan Barão tem algumas semelhanças no jogo dele com o jogo do Aldo, mas eles são lutadores diferentes, eles implementam técnicas diferentes. E eu não fico com medo pelo José Aldo ter ajudado o Renan Barão. Na verdade, eu acho cabível dizer que eu gosto muito da equipe do time da Nova União. Eu vejo isso como uma grande luta, não só por nós sermos individualmente grandes lutadores, como também por eu considerar as nossas equipes as duas melhores equipes nessa categoria de peso. Então eu vejo isso como uma honra para mim, de estar lutando contra o Renan Barão, e eu tenho muito respeito pela equipe dele. E isso para mim é um extra, é um plus nessa luta.
Thank you. And so Dana, is Anderson Silva fight this year in 2012?
Dana's actually not on the call, so we'll save that question. He addressed that a little bit earlier.
Thank you. Thanks very much, guys.
And we'll take our final question from Ryan Smith with MMA Meltdown.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for taking the time. The first question is actually for Uriah. Uriah, how bummed were you when you found out Dominic blew out his ACL, considering what happened on The Ultimate Fighter between you guys?
I was really bummed. This is something there was a lot of build-up for, but I think when everything's said and done, everybody's going to be extremely happy with the new matchup. Although there's animosity between Dominic Cruz and myself, the fight with Renan Baral, in my opinion, is guaranteed to be exciting and has potential to be the most exciting fight of the year. And it's because of the matchup. This matchup is two guys that are finishers. We're both big for the weight class. We both like to fight. And I feel like Dominic tries to win more than he is trying to beat someone up. And Baral and I are the type of guys that like to beat each other up and try to win. So it's going to be a knockdown, drag out, and that's what I like.
Thank you. And Dana mentioned earlier about possibly the winner of this fight defending the interim title one time before Dominic comes back. Uriah, if you win against Renan and you come out of this fight healthy, would you like to fight again before you fight Dominic?
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. I'm not waiting around for Dominic in any way, shape, or form. It makes sense for Carlos Condit to wait around for George St. Pierre. That's a huge fight for him, but for me, I don't feel like, of course everybody wants to see the fight with Dominic and I, but I'm not going to put my life on hold because of his injuries. And fighting's what I do. That's how I make my living. That's what I love to do. And I'll be fighting whenever they give me the opportunity.
Thank you so much. And good question is actually for Renan. Renan, if you come out of this fight with Uriah as the champ and you come out uninjured, would you like to take another fight before you fight Dominic for the true Bantamweight Championship?
Renan, se você vencer essa luta e sair como campeão interino da categoria, você esperaria para defender seu cinturão contra o Dominic Cruz, ou você iria gostar de aceitar outra luta defendendo o título interino?
Eu gostaria de disputar contra o Dominic Cruz. Ficaria muito feliz de poder lutar ficaria muito feliz de poder lutar contra o Dominic Cruz na outra luta.
I think I would want to wait to fight Dominic Cruz. That's a fight that I would really want, and I would want to, convert my interim title into a definitive title for the weight class.
All right. Thank you guys so much. And good luck next Saturday.